All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the March 14th Connecticut Paid Leave Board of Directors meeting. I would like to call this meeting to order. The time is 9:03. Amber, would you kindly take attendance?
Thank you, Fran. Okay. Bermuda Zimmerman.
Present.
Isha will not be joining us this morning. Adrienne reached out. She will not be joining us this morning. Andrea Comer.
Present.
Sheila Hummel.
Present.
Lynn McKitterick.
Present.
Fran Pastore.
Present.
Liz Pritchard.
Present.
Tom Scott.
I am here.
Mike Soltis.
Here.
Molly and Holly will not be joining us today. Janae Wood-Weber
Present.
and Justin Berman.
Present.
Excellent. Thank you. We have a quorum.
Thank you. I hope everyone has had a chance to review the minutes from the February 8th meeting, and hopefully you've all had that time. May I ask if there are any corrections or is there any discussion necessary?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, John. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Excellent. Thank you, everyone. The motion carries. Harinda, would you please provide the actuary quarterly update?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Looking forward to presenting the updated quarterly results for the period July 2023 through December 2023. So this is at the end of Q2 financial result. I'll pull this up on the screen. And so hopefully you can see my screen.
We can.
Yeah. So the purpose here is really to just present the same results that I presented at the Finance and Audit Committee meeting a few weeks ago. So I'll start with the primary result, which is what we're showing here is the actual results for the period July through December 2023. So that's 6-month period. Overall, the fund balance was projected to be 580.7 million. And that compares to a prior financial projection that was presented back in November of 576.1 million. So overall, the fund balance is at the end of this period is a little under 0.7%, so a little under 1%, about 0.8% actually, higher compared to what we had projected, so very close. Overall, the results for this period are based on the following. Contributions earned of 206.3 million, which is a little bit higher than what we had projected. Investment income also slightly higher than what we had projected, 14.3 million. Income claims were also higher, so that lowers the fund balance. It was a little bit higher compared to what was projected as well, at 180.7 million. And other expenses were a little bit lower at 16.4 million. So overall, that results in net activity of 23.5 million for the period. And then when you look at the fund balance at the beginning of the period, net, again, outstanding contributions and claims payments, so these are the reserves that are being held. The fund balance is 580.7 million. Based on this balance, what we would say is the fund position remains strong and within our funding metrics. So we've listed out the funding metrics at the bottom here, as we always do. The reserve versus net fund balance, contribution versus net fund balance, and adverse losses over 1 year compared to net fund balance. And they all are well below the targets. So we would classify as meeting the targets, and so the fund position remains strong. So these are the results in a nutshell. The next page, and this page provides the same result in a graphical illustration. So if you look at the numbers on the left-hand side, those provide the actual results, and the numbers on the right-hand side provide a prior projection. Overall, you'll see the fund balance is showing at the beginning of the period as 557.2 million, increasing with the revenues, the contribution investment income, decreasing with expenses, so claims and other expenses, to end up at a fund balance of 580.7 million. This page provides the detail. I'm not going to go through this in this meeting, but if there are any questions, I'm happy to refer back to this page. It's provided for reference. And then this page provides us with the full year projection for the 12-month period. So all of the other stuff was for just up to the end of December. This provides the full fiscal year projection up to the end of June 2024. So again, fund balance at the beginning of the year, beginning of the fiscal year, as July 1st, is 557.2 million. And we are projecting net activity of 75.4 million. So an increase compared to what we had in the prior projection, to end up at a fund balance of 632.6 million. This overall activity is driven by contributions of a little over 450 million, plus investment income estimated at 25 million, offset by incurred claims 364.9 million, and other expenses of 41. So that's how we get to those numbers. The increase between the prior projection and the new one is driven by a little bit higher contributions earned, as well as higher investment based on current returns. So we've reflected this in an updated projection as we do every quarter. And we'll continue to update this projection based on next quarter's results as well. So those are the results, and I'll open it up for questions.
Thank you, Arinda. Are there any questions? Okay, well, that's a good thing.
All right.
Thank you, Arinda.
Thank you.
Okay, moving right along. John, the quarterly claims update, would you kindly provide that?
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm just going to share my screen.
We can see your
Spot
screen,
here.
John.
Okay, bear with me. You see the Zoom screen right now?
We see your presentation.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was looking at something else. Let's try that again. Excuse me, folks.
We still see it, John.
Oh, you still see the presentation? Okay,
Well,
great.
But John, and we need you to
Yes.
go into slideshow mode,
Yes.
because right now we can see your notes.
Sorry, I just lost my other screen here for some reason, so I apologize.
No worries. There you go.
There,
Okay.
there
And
we
let me
go.
just swap. Can you see the
It's
let's
where
see.
you want it to be.
We see the logo.
Whoops. But now you
Now
switched
you
it.
see notes? Okay, let me
Yeah,
swap back.
no, yeah.
Swap back.
Okay, thank you.
There you go.
Okay, great.
Perfect.
Okay, let me just move one other item here as this is sitting over my notes.
This is why two screens is very complicated.
It is for me sometimes.
It is.
I have some other software that complicates matters a little bit that I try to get out of the way, but it doesn't always work. All right, apologize for the delay, folks. So, good morning, everyone. I have a brief overview of claims administration for you. The 3-month claims filed trend is 22,630 claims received with a monthly moving average of 7,543 claims. Year over year, February claims volume was 4.7% higher. This slide represents 12-month moving statistics of claims by leave reason with the percentage of claims filed by gender. The bonding data presented includes 10,952 cases representing the bonding segment of pregnancy claims filed. Overall totals for the rolling 12-month period: female 63.93%, male 33.63%, choose not to answer 2.23%, and non-binary at 0.21%. The other thing I would point out here as well is the categories that are represented total to over 99% of the caseload. The other categories that are not included on this slide represent less than 1% total of claims being filed. The race and ethnicity data you see here was collected on an opt-in basis beginning in August of 2023. The data reported are cumulative statistics from August 2023 through February 2024. The opt-in response rate for both race and ethnicity was just over 30%. Year-over-year claims filed shows program growth with an increase of 8,645 claims. This represents a 9.42% growth rate in claims filed over the last 12 months. The data presented includes 10,952 bonding cases associated with the corresponding pregnancy cases. This slide highlights the reporting impact of the successful customer service improvements made in streamlining pregnancy and bonding cases into one case. Cases filed are shown in blue, and the associated bonding segment of pregnancy cases filed are shown in orange. The reporting of these incremental bonding cases more accurately demonstrate program growth and represent a 12.24% increase in cases filed in the 12-month period. Counting the bonding segment of pregnancy cases as a separate case provides a level playing field to compare year-over-year claim statistics and when comparing the CTPL program to other state paid leave programs that count these cases separately. Year-over-year adjudicated claims shows an 8.12% approval rate increase. When adding the bonding segment of pregnancy cases, approved claims rise to almost 70,000, and the approval rate rises an additional 3.17% to 76.68%. The denial rate also drops to 23.31%. The 6-month September 23 through February 24 period, totaling 31,514 approvals, with an approval rate of 73.59%. When including the bonding segment of pregnancy cases, approved claims increase to over 36,000 and the approval rate increases to 76.31% in that 6-month period as well. The payments trend line slope shows significant weekly payment growth. The trend is supported by increased claims filings data and increases in the weekly benefit rate tied to minimum wage increases, of which there were 2 in the recent past, one in June of 23 and another one in January 1 of 24. Payments released have increased to almost 1.1 million. The number of unique employees paid by the CTPL program has risen to over 101,000, and the total amount the program has paid to workers is now over $650 million. All payment categories show significant growth from 2023 to 2024, which you can see in the right-hand column. And a customer service performance recap. The customer service metrics showed improvement and remained strong throughout 2023, with claims decisions made within 3.1 days of all documents received. Customer service issues were resolved quickly, and almost all calls and messages were responded to within 1 to 3 days. And this slide is a recent addition to our reporting and illustrates customers' electronic filing, portal usage, and electronic communication. Web filing remains strong at 66% of claims filed. Opt-in for email and text messaging is very high at 85% and 78% respectively. Portal messaging is a highly utilized mode of communicating for claimants who prefer the ease of messaging their case manager. And Aflac IT has developed an administrative portal to enhance the authority's view into claimant case details and improve reporting. Benefits and operations team members collaborated to provide feedback on the new portal for Aflac for incremental improvements in the portal. CTPL's redesigned website claim section features a streamlined layout with easier access to improved claims filing and benefit information. CTPL website enhancements combined with Aflac portal enhancements are helping drive our efforts to inform and educate claimants and employers on claims process requirements. These IT improvements have helped facilitate and increase approval rates and lower denial rates. The authority's internal customer service personnel and Aflac personnel are now able to drive customers to these enhanced resources, and we are seeing improved claims outcome as a result. And that concludes the presentation. Any questions?
Excellent, John. Thank you. I actually have a question.
Sure.
How many, the gender statistics, of course, for me are just remarkable. And I love them. Thank you. I'm curious about how many people have, and it may have been in the proposal, in the presentation. How many women are getting the extended leave? Is there a number around that?
That is not something that I have tracked. However, I could go pull some data on that. I do have duration information that I could extract that and share that with you folks.
It's something that I think is important for us to track. And Erin, with all the conversations that we've been having in the past couple of months, I think it would be a really important piece of information for us to have at the ready. So yeah, if you could, John, incorporate it in and then maybe share next time. No need to go backwards, just for next time. would be great.
Absolutely. And I can pull that data for you and get you some current numbers as well, Fran.
It's okay. Next time is fine.
Okay.
Really,
thanks.
don't do any extra work now, just if you can incorporate it. Anybody else? Thank you. Excellent
Okay.
presentation, John.
Thank you.
Okay. We're going to be moving on to the committee reports, and I'm going to ask Mike to share with us an update on the Policy and Personnel Committee.
Thank you. Good morning. Our committee did not meet this month, so there's no report.
I'm going to call upon Erin to present the Outreach and Engagement Report, because Molly's not with us today.
Sure. So Outreach and Engagement did meet at the end of last month to discuss a variety of issues relating to the outreach and legislative activities, including the paid leave spotlight, which has gone live on our website with a dedicated page. Those are the short videos on specific topics that will help people who want kind of a quick hit. Most of them are 10 minutes or less. And thank Amber again for leading this initiative and really pushing it forward. At the committee meeting, we also talked about the planning for the International Women's Day panel that we co-hosted with the Lieutenant Governor and the legislature. So I will presage my CEO report by saying the panel happened. It was great. Thank you to Janae for participating in the panel. And thank you to Alice and Fran for coming and cheering us on. I think it was well attended and well received, and we got great coverage from NBC. We also, at the committee meeting, talked about developing some surveys, both for employees and employers in Connecticut, to try to start gauging both kind of the saturation of our method, of our outreach methods, to see what people understand about the program, and also to start getting some data around attitudes. So that is an initiative that we began discussing at the committee meeting. And that's the end of my report.
All right, thank you. Dave, Finance and Audit.
Good morning, everybody. So at the Finance and Audit Committee, we did a few things. Number one, we saw the actuarial quarterly update that Harindra presented this morning. In addition to the monthly budget review and spending to date that I'll go over in a minute, we also began a multi-month process to identify the objective criteria for analyzing the contribution rate in the future. So once that process is completed, we will be going over it with the board at a future date. But for the moment now, I'd like to go over the financial results for the month of January and February. So I will share my screen. Okay.
We can see your screen, Dave.
Excellent. Okay. Let's begin. So for the month of January, yes, January, for the month of January, spending for the month was $976,000. That resulted in a positive variance of $721,000. No big particular surprises in terms of expenses for the month. It was the typical categories: payroll, contact center, IT expenses, outreach, so on and so forth. Moving on to bond money. Bond money was a light month, relatively speaking. $28,000 spent on some fund recovery work. That also resulted in better than budget spending. Also better than budget spending year to date through January of positive variance of $242,000. We didn't get any bond proceeds in as we had budgeted. So that's why you see the negative variance of $1.8 million. But no big concerns there, as we currently have $2.4 million remaining in the existing bond funds that were allocated, and we expect to use that money that's available to us in the coming months. Moving on to contribution activity, January is the month after that contributions are due, the grace period month. So we got quite a bit of contributions in. Overall, for the month, we got $66,000 of net activity, which resulted in a $7.8 million balance. The contributions that we got in were just over $98 million. So just slightly under what we had budgeted. Also, the fund recovery money coming in was also better than budget, and the investment income also better than what we budgeted, because the interest rate we're currently earning is about 5.4%, and that's better than the rate that we had budgeted, which was about 4%. Benefits paid for the month were 27.2. That averages about $6.8 million. That is slightly lower than what we've seen, but as John pointed out before, we did see a dip in January. That looks like that's going to be a seasonal thing, because that's as a result of the holidays starting in Thanksgiving and Christmas. And so there's not as many claims that are made, and that spills over into the month of January. But then it definitely picks up in the month of February, as I'll show you in a few moments. But year to date through the month of January, we do have a positive variance of $26.7 million in terms of contribution activity. And that's as a result of positive variance in all the categories so far. Just wanted to spend a moment on contribution trends as a result of the money coming in for January. That concludes the calendar year for 2023. So for the fourth quarter of 2023, we got, which is the last column that you see on the screen, the gray column, we got $100 million for the quarter. That is about $4.5 million higher than the same time last year, or a 4.7% increase. As you can see, year over year and quarter over quarter over the past 3 years since we started collecting contributions, that amount has steadily gone up. And for the most recent year, 2023, annually, we received $450 million of contributions, which was an increase over the prior year of 5.3%, or $22.7 million. What does that mean for the fund? That means the fund is at $596.8 million of funds available for benefits and operating expenses as of the month of January. And most of that money is in the short-term investment fund, $579 million of it out of the total assets of the authority, which are almost at $618 million. Quick preview of February. Nothing unusual there, $908,000 of expenses in the typical categories. Benefits paid were $28.7 million. That's an average of $7.2 million a week. Like I mentioned, we did see an uptick starting in benefit payments again. And in fact, in February and in March, we've had 2 record-setting months of over $7.5 million of benefits paid per week. So we are seeing that increase take place. In terms of year-end projections, we expect spending to be at $14.3 million. That's compared to the budget. Compared to the budget, we expect that to be a $3 million better than budget variance in terms of spending. Income less expenses, you do see a negative $1.2 million. But again, as a reminder to everybody, that's because we did not transfer the administrative fee a few months ago for the first quarter of the fiscal year of 2024, because we had enough money in operating reserves. So we just kept it earning interest in the contribution fund. So that's actually a positive thing. And that positive thing is reflected in the contribution projection right here, where you see that positive $5 million. And as a result of the revised amounts that Harindra had presented earlier, once we put them on a cash basis, we expect the activity by the end of the year to be about $74.5 million. And that's a positive variance of $61.7 million, pretty much a positive variance all around. And that's where we think we'll be at the end of the year. So that's where we are, and that's where we think we'll be. Does anybody have any questions?
Dave, I have a question.
Yes, Mike.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
Good. So there seems to be a significant increase in our revenue. And it seems hard to attribute it solely to the increase in the minimum wage. And I wondered if you had any insight as to why we're exceeding our revenue expectations.
Well, in terms of the budget, we always budget conservatively because we never know what's going to happen. So that's why we exceed the expectations. In terms of why we've been exceeding year over year, I don't think it's just the minimum wage. The minimum wage increase, I think it was 69 cents, the most recent increase. So that's not a big one. I think there's been wage pressure the past few years since the pandemic, and that has really driven up wages even beyond the minimum wages, and that's still happening. Jobs that in the past were typically just minimum wage, they're still hard to fill, so employers have had to go beyond the minimum wage in order to fill them, and that's been happening post-pandemic. So I think that's one of the main drivers why you're seeing the wages go up. Is that going to, is that going to happen going forward? Well, certainly not forever. I don't know when that's going to change. I don't pretend to be an economist by any stretch of the imagination, but obviously at some point there's got to be some give there. So as we think about budgeting for the next fiscal year, which we're doing now and will present at a future board meeting a couple of months from now, we definitely temper our expectations in terms of how much we think that growth is going to be.
I just want to
Thank-
add, when we started, interest rates were very low, and the investment we were receiving was, we budgeted low returns on investments, and thanks to the Office of the Treasurer and their efforts, the investment returns have been much higher than anticipated.
All right, thank
You're welcome. Anyone else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Erin, would you like to share your CEO report?
Thank you so much. So I already talked about the panel last week, so I don't need to talk about that. Our biggest and best news is that we will be at full strength for the board starting in April. As you may remember, Britt Marie Cole Johnson had to step away over the summer. We've been working to find a replacement, someone who has experience and knowledge in the area of family medical leave law. And the governor has appointed David Salazar Austin to fill that position. The appointment went through last night, so a little bit short notice for him to join today, but he'll be joining next month. Currently works as an in-house counsel at Travelers Indemnity after having worked in private practice at Jackson Lewis in employment law for many years. He is on the board of directors of the Connecticut Hispanic Bar Association of Connecticut, and was the past president of the board of directors for the Connecticut Fair Housing Center. David is a great guy, and I think we'll all be very happy to have him on the board. I'm happy to be able to announce that and to be able to introduce him to you all next month. And then on to housekeeping. Statements of financial interest. Office of State Ethics does require those to be filed by May 1st of every year. If you filed them in the past, you can just update what you have in the system. If you hadn't filed them in the past, we're happy to share some instructions and help you get set up. It is the kind of thing that's helpful to do once you've completed your taxes. There's some information that you have to share about investments that I find easier to do once the taxes are done. So just a reminder, I'll be reminding you all a couple more times that they will be due. That's it, unless anyone has any questions for me.
Thank you, Erin. Is there a link? And Amber, I have a feeling that you already sent it. The link to.
We can send it again.
Would you kindly? Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And sorry for that inconvenience. Certain
Not at
people
all.
like myself need that. Thank you. Okay, any old business? Any new business? Okay, so in a moment, I'm going to ask you for all of you for a motion to enter into executive session. The purpose is to enable the board to discuss the responses to the audit RFP. So before we provide instructions, before we have a motion, I'll provide some instructions. We need an affirmative vote of 2/3 of the voting members present at this meeting to go into executive session. When you enter the executive session, you are going to leave the Zoom meeting, and you'll need to use the Microsoft Teams link that Stephanie sent with the agenda. So if you don't, it should be at the top in your inbox, but it should also be in your agenda. There's a link right in the agenda. The Zoom link is going to remain open, and we'll return to the Zoom link once we're done with executive session. And just as a reminder, there is no voting in executive session, okay? When it's over, you're going to close your Teams link, go back to the Zoom link. So everybody got that? Okay, awesome. When everybody's back in the Zoom link, we're going to return to our regular meeting. And now I'll ask for a motion for the board to enter an executive session for the purpose of discussing responses to an RFP pursuant to CGS 1-206 E1-210B24 and 1-225F. And I'd like to formally invite Erin, Dave, Locke, and Amy into the executive session. May I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Opposed or any abstentions? Okay, the motion carries. The time is 9:38. See you all in a moment. Thank you.
Fran, you're on mute.
Just bear with me 1 second. Now I'm having tech issues.
Yeah. Me through.
And where it looks like everybody came back, is that correct?
I think we have everyone back.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry, everybody.
We'll bring everyone, if you don't mind marking the time as 9:57.
The time is 9:57.
Great.
Okay, so I just pulled up the wrong agenda, so I'm so sorry for being so confused this morning. So do we want to have a discussion, Erin, or do we take a vote?
I'll for the motion, and then after the motion, you can have the discussion if there's needed.
Okay, so may I have a motion to allow the board to enter into, I haven't lost my language, I'm really sorry.
Sure. So it would be a motion to authorize the
author-
to enter into contract negotiations and enter into a contract with the preferred vendor.
Thank you. So may I have a motion to authorize the authority to enter into contract negotiations and to execute a contract with the proposed vendor?
So moved.
Thank you. Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
For discussion
Aye.
purposes,
Oh.
don't we need to list the vendor?
No,
Okay.
we don't. We never have in the past. So we don't need to.
Okay.
Okay, that's good, thanks.
Okay, so for John, the vendor is Whittlesley. Yeah? Okay. Any abstentions? Okay, so the motion carries.
Okay, so we can just, unless there's any other business, we can have a motion to adjourn.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other business to discuss?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, John. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Andrea. All in favor? I'm sorry, any opposed?
Well, I'm in favor.
You're in favor, okay.
Favor.
Okay, the time is, the motion carries, the time is 9:59. Alice, I'm hoping you get to your meeting on time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy Pi Day.
Oh, and everybody enjoy this gorgeous day. It's going to be 65 degrees.
Aye.
Nice.